On to tin top action now, and round 6 of the K-Tech Racing Clio 182 Championship. Patrick Fletcher and James Bark, arch rivals on the front row of the grid. George Williams missing from row 2, so Philip Wright has that to himself. Nick Garner and Mark Barmer in the orange and silver cars respectively on the third row. As the lights go out, we're underway at Croft for round 6 of this championship, which is being led now by Patrick Fletcher after his win yesterday, heading down towards the Clio corner for the first time, and there were rubbing door handles and mirrors there. Patrick Fletcher and James Bark, you might remember, dead heated in the championship last year, with Bark getting their verdict on number of wins. It's almost as equally as tight this season between them. 3 wins for Fletcher, 2 for Bark coming into this race, and now Bark is challenging for the lead. He's getting alongside Patrick Fletcher now. He's got his nose in front, has he, as they go down towards Tower Corner. Absolutely wheel to wheel, mirror to mirror, almost touching bodywork there as they go through, but Fletcher prevails for the moment. Now, can Philip Wright in third place, the yellow car, get a better run coming out of Tower Corner to get through into second place? I think he might do. Yes, he is through. And indeed, Bark looks to be a bit slow there, coming off the Jim Clark S's, and he's being passed by car after car after car. And James Bark, the reigning champion, is in big trouble here, and I think he may have to go into retirement on this first lap of the race, and that is going to hand a big advantage to Patrick Fletcher in the championship race, albeit only 12 rounds out of 14 accounted by the driver, so you can afford a drop score, and that is exactly what Barkey, number 85, is going to have to do here, because he's out of round 6. The survivors filtering their way through the complex there, including the number 27 car, Matthew Charlton, the bright yellow machine, making their way around the hairpin to end the lap and to go back onto the start to finish straight. So now it's Philip Wright that has taken over the mantle of James Bark as the main challenger to Patrick Fletcher in this race. In third place, a good start by Mark Barmer, who started 6th. Well, George Williams wasn't there, James Bark has retired, but he has got ahead of Nick Garner already in this race. Pete Morgan, you can see there in his black car going through, and just looking to see who is in 4th position at the moment. I think it may well be the number 42 car of Garner then, as they make their way towards Tower Corner. No, it's not. It looks like he has lost out, in fact, now to number 34, which is Scott Sharp, the man that finished 3rd in last year's Stock Cats Championship. There's Garner, number 42, who had his best showing yet at Castle Combe last time out for the K-Tech Racing Clio 182 Championship, although the wins there were shared between Bark and Fletcher as they were at Donington Park for the opening meeting in March. So Fletcher, the 23-year-old flight simulator engineer from Reading, he previously raced in Sax Max and Stock Hatch, also with the 750 Motor Club. He's been karting since the age of 8, but he's proved himself a very adept tin-top racer over the past few seasons, and he's taken to these Clios very well indeed. And a bit of a lock-up there by the number 25 car. That's Simon Donoghue, a bit further back down the order. It's his first season of racing, of course. 92 there is Nick Passmore. But let's go back to the leaders because they're so close. Patrick Fletcher with the red stripe down his mainly silver car, the yellow car with the blue roof for Philip Wright, number 63, the driver from Kings Lynn. Now there's a driving standards flag being shown to somebody there. We couldn't see the number, but that'll be to one of the drivers that's probably been exceeding track limits at one part or other of the circuit. Scott Sharp there in 4th place. I notice a bit more lonely now. Nick Garner still there in 5th, and in 6th position at the moment, I think, is the number 10 car, which is Martin Ward, who's been with the Clios ever since they started off in a very small number of cars about 4 seasons ago now, when they joined on the Stock Hatch grids as the series was developed gradually. But Martin Ward, who raced in Stock Hatch before this, a stalwart of the Clios now. As through Barcroft goes our race leader, Patrick Fletcher, number 29 then. Denied the championship so narrowly last season, looking to gain revenge over James Bark for that on this occasion, but he's not got James Bark to race this time. He's got Philip Wright and Mark Barmer in the 53 car, the man from Burnley. I think this is only his 2nd season of racing in cars in the K-Tech Racing Clio 182 Championship for the 182 Cup cars. They run with K-Tech coilovers, Team Dynamics wheels on these cars as well. There's Trevor Gregory, number 14, the man that was 6th in the championship coming into this weekend, but he didn't qualify so well, down in 14th position. Finished yesterday's race in 13th, hoping for better things today. He has made up some places, I can see. He's ahead of the car of Aaron Sharp, for example, brother of Scott, and also Rob Armitage, the car number 30 for the 20-year-old from Cambridge. Last lap of the race then. Fletcher's still ahead of Wright and Barmer. It's been this close between these three pretty much all the way through this race. Up towards the Jim Clark S as they go for the final time. Just going through the front of shot there, you can see Scott Sharp with Nick Garner a bit closer to him than he has been at times during this race. So Scott Sharp hasn't had it all his own way. Look how the cars slide their way, quite sideways they are through Barcroft. Cars relatively unsettled by the time they arrive at the double right-hander at Sunny in and Sunny out, which is where they are now. Short burst down this straight towards the left-hander at the complex. It looks like Patrick Fletcher is going to be the first driver to do a double this season in the K-Tech Racing Clio 182 Cup, helped of course by James Mark's demise. Must have been something that broke on that car in the very early stages of that race, unfortunately. Looks like he has been a casualty. But out of the final corner they go then. Line astern, 1, 2 and 3. Fletcher, Wright, second place for him yet again. Had lots of those now in his Clio career, and third place is Barmer. Meanwhile, that's 25, Donoghue locking the brakes into the complex, and Richard Thurbin it is, number 78, the man from Warboys, is trying to go through. He goes around the outside at the second part of the complex. That's going to be the inside line for the hairpin, and I think Richard Thurbin has got that done. This is the battle for 14th and 15th. No, he's not, because Donoghue comes back through on the exit of the corner, so it's going to be Donoghue that comes through to grab 14th position in the end. Patrick Fletcher's victory margin was 7/10 of a second. 36/100 separated Wright in second and Barmer in third. Scott Sharp was fourth, Nick Garner fifth, and Pete Morgan completed the top six. Trevor Gregory, a big improvement on yesterday, up to 7th place. Further back down the order, Nick Passmore in 11th, Matthew Charlton 12th, and Scott Thorne, number 49, in his second season in 13th position. Best lap of the race went to Fletcher, who leaves Croft with a championship lead of more than 30 points. 2 in the weekend, that's a great result, isn't it?
Yeah, up to the rounds to this, like at Donington and Castle Combe, me and Barker have both had one each weekend, so to come around with 2 in one weekend is amazing. But it's a bit sad to see Barker pulled up in that race, so yeah, didn't beat him on track as it were, but to get 2 wins is amazing.
Well, just because Barkey wasn't out there didn't mean it wasn't a very hard race, did it?
No, I saw Barkey I didn't realise Barkey pulled up on the first lap, so I thought the third silver car was Barkey. So I was getting pushed by the 2 cars behind for the whole race, and I was unable to break the toe and pull away.
Phil Wright, second place there in that second K-Tech Racing Clio 182 race of the weekend. As ever, very closely fought in the Clios.
Yeah, it's so tight between the 3 of us. Well, 4 or 5 of us even. The cars are so evenly matched. What you gain on one bit, you lose on another bit. It's brilliant racing.
Absolutely, and Mark there giving you a very hard time. Is that the first time you'd raced against Mark?
Not the first time. It's the closest we've raced together, but he kept me honest. But it was all clean racing. He stopped me tagging patch, so he helped patch out.
Mark Barmer, a first-time visitor to the K-Tech Racing Clio 182 podium, must be really pleased with that.
I'm absolutely chuffed to bits. It's been hard effort, in the weeks leading up to this meeting, and it all seems to have come together this week, and can't be any happier.
Yeah, absolutely. Could you quite believe that you were going to be in contention for a podium place here at Croft?
After the race won yesterday in 4th, we thought we had potential. Didn't quite realise how much we found overnight just by wandering the circuit and picking it up myself. I think most of it's come out of me between the 2 races.
More racing coming up after the break with the Demon Tweaks Yokohama Locost Championship. The the cars heading to the grid for the Demon Tweaks Yokohama Locost Championship now. This is round 6. Round 5 yesterday was quite remarkable because Tim Neate charged through from 17th on the grid to win his maiden Locost race. Now, he should have things a little bit easier today because he starts from 2nd on the grid next to the pole position man, Jack Coveney, the car with the Dayglow roll cage you can see there. Second row is Chris Legg and Paul Clark, as we wait for the lights to go out, which they do now, but yellow flags and a problem for Oliver Batten. Let's just hope all of the drivers missed the number 31 car that was on the 3rd row of the grid. 40 cars taking the start of this race. Everyone has missed him. Problems as well I could see there for Mick Lax from the back, but it's Coveney that leads. Tim Neate is in 2nd place as they head through Clervaux Corner for the first time. It looked like Ian Alley made a good start as well from row 9 of the grid, the man that was runner-up in the championship last year. But the marshals there rushing to the aid of the stranded drivers. Oh, it looks like Oliver Batten might just about get away under his own steam eventually. But the cars making their way through the chicane now for the first time. That's the number 30 car of Graham Harris going over the runoff area at the chicane. Now this is what happened to Oliver Batten. I think he realised quite early on there's a problem with his car. He got his hand out of the cockpit to warn the other drivers. That's now the view from behind him, and he's just got to be so grateful that all of the other drivers missed him there. They all avoided him because otherwise that could have turned out to be quite a nasty incident. Oliver Batten, yes, he really was struggling to get that car going. Now, Tim Neate has taken the lead here from Jack Coveney, so it's Neate, yesterday's winner, that is now leading. Coveney in 2nd place. 3rd is Paul Clark, so he's got ahead of Chris Legg, who's dropped back at... Oh, and where is our race leader? There he is. There's Tim Neate. He's gone off. He's gone off at Sunny, and I think possibly there... the rain that has started to fall has caught him out at Sunny Corner. He rejoins sort of halfway down the field. So it's Coveney now that leads. Paul Clark is 2nd. Glenn Boyer 3rd. James Millman is 4th. It looks like Tim Penstone Smith is 5th. And Ian Alley is up to 6th place. That's quite remarkable because he started on 17th on the grid. That's where Tim Neate started yesterday. But oh, and a problem. That's Tim Neate again spinning around as he tried to recover. Oh my word, that is absolute heartbreak for Tim Neate, a winner yesterday, not so tidy today. He's going to start back down in pretty much 35th position, I think, by the time he gets going for a second time. His hopes of a double victory are over. We're on board here with David Jones making his way around the hairpin. He's in the number 10 car. And he too has got a lot of ground to make up because he started on row 17. He's someone that's usually a little bit closer towards the front of the field. There's Chris Legg, number 45, going through. But there we see our 2nd place man. That's the yellow and black car of Glenn Boyer. 3rd now is Ian Alley. Alley has gone 3rd. This is an amazing drive from Ian Alley. Yesterday retired on lap 1 with a puncture. He was leading the championship by 1 point coming into this weekend from Danny Andrew. But he's lost the lead to Andrew, who finished in the end 6th yesterday. Was leading for a while, but came a cropper on the oil laid down by a back marker. But now Ian Alley is up to 2nd place because he's got past Glenn Boyer as well, as the rain really is starting to fall now. So it's Coveney leading, Alley 2nd. 3rd is the 33 car of Glenn Boyer. In 4th place is Paul Clark. 5th is Tim Penstone Smith. 6th is James Millman. We go back on board with David Jones. He's just gone through the Jim Clark Esses. He's now heading towards Croft. You can see a big blob of rain, a raindrop on his camera lens, so it's a little bit in the way of our view, but it clears now. And we'll see how far up the order David Jones can get from row 17. The drivers treading fairly carefully now through the complex. The marshals, you can see, have got their hoods up. They're not stupid. Trying to ward off the worst of these conditions. Yesterday's top 3, by the way, was Tim Neate from Ben Powney, who led for quite a while. It looked like he might have his first race win yesterday, but it wasn't to be. And Martin West was 3rd, so he got his first podium. He's just gone through there, actually, as Martin West in the number 94 car, so he is running well up the order as well, in 7th position, I beg your pardon, at the moment. So we'll see if he can get back up into a podium position as the race goes on. And there is number 1, Danny Andrew. Now, he was the man that took over the championship lead yesterday. Now, he had to battle through from row 18 of the grid. It was a very disjointed qualifying session for these cars yesterday with red flags, meaning that drivers didn't get a lot of quick running in, and that is why I've had such jumbled up grids here. Actually made for quite entertaining racing. James Millman, number 63. turning his way through, and he's had some decent qualifying performances during the course of this season. Hasn't necessarily turned them into good race results as yet. He's not been on the podium so far this year, but 7 different drivers have. Ian Alley has taken 3 wins out of the 5 races so far. Danny Andrew and Tim Neat the other winners. And there's Tim Neat trying to come back again. He's just ahead of the number 24 car there, which is Stephen White, and 10 is David Jones, the driver that we've been on board with. We'll go back on board with him again. He's got his finger out there, not sure what he's trying to indicate, or to whom. As you can see, the conditions getting ever more difficult now. This is Ernie Gushlow up ahead in number 67, the red and yellow car. Replay of something that happened a moment or two ago then. And it was, yes, that's what was going on. I missed that to the left hand side. That was the number 35 car, David Winter of Discontent, going off to the left hand side of the circuit at Tower Corner. Well, it's Martin West that's made it up to 3rd place now, behind Ian Alley. Jack Coveney is still leading. He didn't have the happiest of races yesterday, came back to 8th after going off at the first corner. But a good battle going on here for the first place not on the podium. It's between Glenn Boyer in the yellow car, number 33, the driver from Bridgewater in Somerset, and between Tim Penstone-Smith, the blacksmith from Welwyn Garden City. They're just coming into shot now. Croft, not a lot to choose between them. Millman, it is still 6th. 7th place looks to be the car of Ben Powney, I think, making his way through. But good scraps going on all the way down the order, in spite of these very difficult conditions that the drivers now have to contend themselves with. So Alley in 2nd place. Interesting for me in Alley, because he went off like a scalded cat, made up 15 places in the first lap and a half, but has stayed 2nd thereafter. And I'm just wondering if he would actually have favoured the conditions staying a bit drier, because since it's got really wet, he's struggled a bit more, and his performance and his position has plateaued off. Meanwhile, James Millman there going to try and get up the inside of 2 cars. It's going to go 3 abreast as they come out of the hairpin. Millman might go 4th here, but no, it's Penstone-Smith that's just about got his nose in front. It's Boyer that's gone down to 6th position. Along the straight they go towards Clervaux Corner now. Which driver's got the most power? There's Alley in 2nd position still. It's Penstone-Smith and Boyer, and Millman has dropped to the back of that group. So he's probably got a 1 brake horsepower less, which is not very much to start with on a low-cost engine. It's the 1300cc Ford Crossflow unit that powers these cars, and with many of the other components from Ford vehicles from down the years, Cortinas and Sierras and so forth. Ian Alley then in 2nd place. He's put a bit of daylight between himself and Martin West over these past couple of laps. I thought for a time West was going to challenge him. He's still running in 2nd place in car number 2. Danny Andrew has got back inside the top 10, I notice, but still he's going to be outscored here by Ian Alley. Meanwhile, it's Jack Coveney that's going to be heading for his 2nd win of the season. He had a victory at Brands Hatch as well earlier in the year, and he wins his 2nd race of the season in round 6 of the Demon Tweaks Yokohama Low-Cost Championship. Ian Alley is going to be in 2nd place. Something else that went on down at Tower Corner earlier on in the race. Number 10 car of David Jones there. It was Ernie Gushlow that maybe a little bit too brave going into Tower Corners on such a greasy circuit that has ended up in the field. Thumbs up though, he's alright and able to continue with his race. Well, Gushlow eventually finished 24th, but the win went to Jack Coveney by 6.8 seconds. Martin West about 6 seconds or so back from Alley in 3rd place. Penstone-Smith did get 4th ahead of Glenn Boyer and Ben Powney. James Millman shuffled back to 7th on the final lap. Tim Neat and Danny Andrew did both make it into the top 10, but Lee M didn't. He was 11th ahead of Rob Middleton and Gary Brandon, with Sean Brame 14th. The best lap set on lap 2 was set by Ian Alley. Well, it was a little bit too wet for interviews with our top 3 from the low-cost race, and indeed there was quite a delay as the rain fell before the Formula Vs were released out onto the grid for their race. Eventually there was a bit of a break in the weather, but almost immediately it started to rain quite heavily again. Paul Smith on pole position. Next to him is James Howard. Row 2, Ian Jordan and David Hughes. Third row of the grid, Harry Webb and Paul Taylor. Lights out, and away we go on board with Alex Jones, number 23, who started on the inside of row 4 next to Ian Buxton, and he has Jamie Harrison going past him there off the start line. There's a great ball of spray, arrives at Clervaux for the first time. It's headed by Paul Smith, from Harwich in second, Dave Hughes is third, Dave Jordan is fourth. On board again with Alex Jones as he splashes his way around the right-hander at Hawthorne, and that's a spinning number 3, Paul Taylor. Oh, there's other cars that have rotated as well there, coming through Hawthorne. Who were they at? It's 57 Jamie Harrison, and also the 16 car has had a moment as well. That's Ian Buxton, so they've got themselves together, and it's side by side for the lead of the race. Harwich, I think, briefly had it. It's now Smith in front, and Smith that holds the lead then as they go through Tower Corner for the first time. But look how the rain is bouncing up off the tarmac now. Conditions really, really difficult here at Croft, especially in a single-seater. These 1300cc air-cooled Formula V cars, that is an off for Dave Hughes now, who was second in yesterday's race to Paul Smith, and more drivers also heading off at Tower, including the 32 car, that is, which is Darren Lomas in his AHS Challenger. He's trying to find his way back onto the circuit, but really horrible conditions, and the drivers finding this very difficult indeed. Paul Smith, three-time champion in Formula V, leads the way then from James Harwich in the self-built Maverick in second place. He does revel in these wet conditions. Then a gap back to third place, and has anyone told these drivers that it's raining? Because they're having a great fight. That is number 2, Ian Jordan, second in the championship last year, and number 40, Harry Webb. And this isn't rain now, it's hail that is bouncing off the slabs outside the commentary box. It is absolutely treacherous out there. It brings to mind a Formula Ford race that was held here a few years ago in very similar conditions, and that ended up being red flagged, as I recall. But these drivers, let's see if they can adapt to these conditions. Let's see how Alex Jones can do as he comes into the complex. Oh no, and he spins around there. That's at the hairpin, and it was a half spin really, and he lost a couple of places as a result of that. But look at that river more or less running across the track now at Clervaux. Drivers have got to splash their way through. That's like a ford, isn't it really, down there at Clervaux Corner. Still this fight going on for third place though, with Smith having won all 5 races this season, now having dropped Harwich as well on this occasion. Harry Webb, the youngster, probably won't have driven the car very much in these conditions. He's a relative newcomer in his first season of Formula V racing. He's had lots of success in karts over the past few years, and looked on course for a podium at Donington in his first race until a steering component broke and pitched him off the road at McLean's Corner. But looks to be adapting well to these very difficult conditions here. He's chasing the much more experienced Ian Jordan there. Jordan, who won races last season. So they are heading now towards Barcroft for the second time in this race. Clearly not lapping anything like as quickly as they did yesterday. Dave Hughes got the fastest lap yesterday, 1:36.68, but there was something like 20 seconds a lap slower than that in these horrible conditions. Webb carrying a lot more speed, trying to find where there's a bit more grip around the outside at Sunny Out, and he's made a move there. Well, that's something he'll have learnt in karting, I'm sure. He's found where the grip is, which is actually where possibly there's a bit more standing water here. Drove around the outside of Ian Jordan there and has got up into third place. Nicely done that by Harry Webb, car number 40, the driver from Bungay. And the hairpin they go. There goes Smith. There goes Harwich in the Maverick that's in second place. Number 77 for the driver from Welland. Turns his way through Clervaux Corner now, and is it still Webb in third place? Yes, it looks like it is, ahead of Jordan. And then a long gap back to the car that is in 5th position, which I think is the 57 car in actual fact. Oh, as Harwich goes off. Harwich off at Hawthorne. He sort of straight lines the chicane now. Well, any hopes of catching Paul Smith that he might have harboured seemed to have gone up in spray there, because he's now a long way back behind the race leader. Still got a good advantage though over Harry Webb in third place. He splashes down towards Tower Corner, still the rain bouncing off the tarmac. I think it is rain now rather than hail, and it's not as heavy as it was. But you can see the spray being kicked up by these Hoosier control tyres that the drivers now use. Into the pits comes number 64. That's Bill Stenning and his Spider. He's out of the race. And there's Tim Probert, number 8 on his local circuit here, the man from Richmond. Finished his first race here yesterday after failing to complete a lap last year, but there was frustration. There was an electrical issue that hampered Tim yesterday, which caused the engine to cut out intermittently. There's Harridge and Webb and Jordan in fourth as they turn their way through the complex. 16 is Ian Buxton now. He was off on the first lap. He's a driver that normally goes one of the way. Oh, and he's gone off there, so possibly I spoke a bit too soon. Now he's going to cross over the grass as he tries to rejoin. On board again with Alex Jones, who splashes through a puddle. He had a spin yesterday on the first lap of the race when another driver kicked up a big puddle, but he's rotated here, I'm afraid to say, as Alex Jones has done a full 360. He's pointing back in the right direction again. I think gets the car fired up and off he goes. He's in one of the Bears Motorsport GACs this year. James Cater turns his way through the chicane very gingerly. Now he's heading down the straight towards Tower, finding what he can of a dry line with some big puddles and rivers running across the circuit more or less. There's Probert there, number 8, running outside the top 6. Finished yesterday's race. Oh, was off goes Cater at Tower. That's the driver that we were on board with a few moments ago, and I'm not sure he's going to go any further, is he? No, it doesn't look like it. Quite a lot of camber on those wheels on the back, certainly. I'm not sure if that's how he started out, but either way, it looks like he's stuck in the field. Paul Smith splashing through the water as he heads down towards Tower Corner now, and the red flag's coming out. The race being stopped, and I would think that is partly because of Cater's car being stranded in a tricky position, and partly because the weather's horrible. Let's have a look again at Cater. So on board with him here, under braking for Tower, no grip, more or less aquaplanes off, car spins around over the track and into the rather sodden field. Well, no time for a restart, so the result declared after just 3 laps, with Paul Smith classified as being the winner by 6.7 seconds from James Harridge in second place. He also won Class B. Harry Webb was third, Ian Jordan fourth, Jamie Harrison and Alex Jones getting their best results yet in 5th and 6th places respectively. Further back, Martin Snow was 11th ahead of David Lunevsky, Darren Lomas 13th after his moment, Anthony Mitchell 14th and Jake Hockley and the ex-Ben Anderson GAC rounding out the top 15. But Paul Smith leaves Croft still unbeaten. So Paul Smith, winner of the Formula V race, red flagged a bit early. What were those conditions like?
Pretty terrible, to be honest with you. I think, like a couple of the other drivers will say, we're sort of wheel spinning down the straight, and every corner was a challenge, and could never really pick the same line because you'd always miss it. But yeah, it was very difficult with the bumps as well. It doesn't help. So.
Hold the water, I guess. James Harridge, I guess you probably thought he was going to be a bit of a threat in those conditions.
Yeah, I think I got a bit too much wheel spin on the start, and I see him come up the inside of me, and I was a bit tentative. I've got more to lose than James, so he got past, but I was able to get past down the straight and then get into my rhythm and do my thing. Okay, James Harridge second in that rather old Formula V race. Certainly conditions that played into your hands a little bit. Definitely,
it suits my driving, suits the car. Still, even in those conditions, you need good engine power, and he literally drove around me down the back straight there. So it's something we still need to work on. It's been a long road, but we're getting somewhere. You know, we come from Brands where we finished 10th, and now we finished second there. So I'm very happy.
Harry Webb, third place. That's your first podium in Formula V.
Yeah, it was good. I'd just like to say thanks to Alan and everyone, and they've done an amazing job. And obviously, the race was difficult with the conditions, and I haven't driven the car or the track a lot in this, so it was a bit of a mixed match, but it was fun.